Last time I saw you, we were watching the Super Bowl, and you were very confident.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard not to be confident when you're up 28-3. Well, not we, the Falcons were. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible how bad the Patriots were that whole game. And then they just come back. And it's like part of it is them being good, being able to come back in the short time they had. But Jesus, like the Falcons, they were on the Patriots 20, 5 minutes left. And all they did was run 3 times, kick a field goal. They have a great field goal kicker. That would have been it. It would have been a 2-score game. Yeah, it would have been over. But now we got to hear about how Brady's the best ever when he looked like a bum for like 3 quarters. Looked like a bum. I just it enrages me. But yeah, I mean, it was a great Super Bowl. It was I had a good time watching. Outside of that,
Did you watch it, Jay?
I was working, but I saw highlights of it. I kind of want to go off of that. How Tom Brady was a bum. It was like kind of like this scenario. I think about these scenarios all the time, like these what if something different happened. When Tom Brady started, it was because Drew Bledsoe got that hit back in like 2000, 2001
against the Jets. Yeah.
What if Drew Bledsoe never got hit? What do you think would have happened with Tom Brady's career? Or I think at the time, Bill Belichick, he wasn't even in New England. He was at the Jets as a.
I think he might have been with New England at that point because I think he was there when they drafted.
Oh yeah, because the thing is, he had a bit of a fondness for Tom Brady and his.
Yeah, he liked him. You know, he didn't think he was great at all. He was total luck. He was a random, he was a
diamond in the rough.
He was an okayish college quarterback, and then Belichick didn't even know. It was sort of like lightning in a bottle. But, I mean, if Bledsoe never got hurt, he was kind of getting on there in years. Brady might have gotten a shot. But, I mean...
You think so? I mean, I feel like maybe... Because at that time, he signed a 10-year contract around that time.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics. I'm just imagining. I mean, Brady is talent.
Do you think he would be the way he was, the way he is now, if Drew Bledsoe was never injured?
I don't know, maybe he's never that for the Patriots. Maybe because that happens all the time, like with Green Bay. They would have young quarterbacks and then they trade him. Happened to Matt Hasselbeck, he got traded to the Seahawks. So, I mean, he might have gone somewhere else and been good if he didn't have an opportunity at the Patriots. But I think he was always talented. It was just a weird thing where he never got the exposure at the college level that he should have had. I don't know. I mean, it's weird. The other thing that's weird is, you look at the Cleveland Browns. They had Bill Belichick as a head coach. They had Ozzie Newsome, who's the Ravens GM. He was the GM then. They had Nick Saban, who's from Alabama, as the defensive coordinator. And they had the dude who, runs the Falcons, the GM for the Falcons. He was their scouting department head. How do you ruin that? How do you mess that up? And then they moved. They moved out of Cleveland. And it's...
Well, the reason why I asked that is, I saw a video of that what-if scenario if Drew Bledsoe wasn't hit. And basically the guy... At the end, he basically explains that, Tom Brady never becomes the quarterback that he is now. Bill Belichick ends up being a head coach for the Cowboys. The way that he explains the scenario is the way it would work out during that year, the draft year, and the next years after that.
Oh, so he, fails and...
No, he doesn't fail. Because the thing is, he would have been with Jerry Jones still. So they would have created a Cowboys dynasty.
Oh, okay.
And because of that, since that throws off all these other teams' franchises for the next 10 years. And apparently they say Ben Roethlisberger never gets drafted to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they never create a dynasty as well. And all these it's crazy to see just how one single moment could change history.
It is I think that. Are you talking about the What If L or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great series.
Is this a YouTube series?
Yeah. It's awesome.
It sounds pretty cool.
There are these great little cartoons the guy does with them, too.
Oh, really?
There's one where it's about the Buffalo Bills. What if they actually won the Super Bowls they went to instead of losing all 4 of them? And, all this stuff. There's one I always think of is the dude from USC. What's his name? He played Reggie Bush. I don't know if anybody knows it.
He's an Ultimate Fighter?
No. USC.
Oh.
Southern California.
I thought you said UFC.
Yeah, he was the quarterback. He's real famous, good-looking quarterback. But he was considered the best quarterback in college.
Oh, you're talking about Johnny Football?
No. That was a couple years ago. It was what's this dude's name? Anyways, he played with Reggie Bush back in 2005, and he would have gone out his junior year, but then he stayed for
the Saints or the Lions.
No, in college he played Reggie
In college?
Bush. They were both on the best team in college history at that point.
I forget. I know.
Anyways, it was like, Matt Leinart. Matt Leinart.
Okay.
I don't know if it rings a bell, but that's what it is, Matt Leinart.
Okay.
And he was going to be the number 1 pick if he went in the draft that year, but he decided to stay his senior year. So then in the draft, the year that he didn't get drafted, was Alex Smith, who was taken by the Niners, number 1 overall. And then Aaron Rodgers, who's obviously the best ever, I think. He was taken number 25 by the Packers. So if Matt Leinart was in that draft, he would have gone number 1 overall. Alex Smith would have gone maybe a little bit later, maybe to the Packers. And then Aaron Rodgers would have went to the Redskins. Redskins would have had Aaron Rodgers, the best quarterback ever. Yeah. Just because Matt Leinart decided to
Which is crazy because think about it. That throws it off because, like, look at Kirk Cousins. When I first saw Kirk Cousins play after RG3 went down, I thought this guy was horrible. But now, the way that he is now, I'm like, this guy's he's a beast. Like,
he puts up stats.
He puts up numbers that, like, it's ridiculous. Averages close to 300 yards a game passing. That's like Drew Brees type stuff.
Yeah, he almost got. I think he might have gotten 5,000 yards passing
in one season, right?
Which is that's Drew Brees level.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, he's got terrific receivers, and I think the main issue with him is that
is it the line? You think?
No, I mean I think before he was like not shell shocked, but he was like anxious and nervous about not messing up because RG3 was right behind his shoulder.
Right.
So like, or Colt McCoy, Colt McCoy, people wanted him to start over Kirk Cousins. I think it's just one of those things, and it's like a Brady thing. It's like a Dak Prescott thing, where when they get the opportunity, they seize it, and they don't let it go.
Right.
Because in a moment, it's gone from it.
Yeah.
So Kirk Cousins was able to get enough of an opportunity to now make it his own. It's crazy. That's just like in life that happens. Where like if you're not on your toes, it can get away from you instantly, or you can take it from someone instantly. And it's just that's what I love about football is the storylines of it.
Right.
I mean, it's incredible the amount of things you think about, like what could have happened, what should have happened. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, it's its own drama in a way, you know, as along with being a sport that you watch, like all the other stuff, like. That's why I can't really follow football because there's so much to follow, I think. But maybe that's an illusion, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much, you know what I'm saying?
There is a lot, but
it's a whole world of content.
It's always, like, dumbed down for a lot of people. It really is. Like, it's not hard. It's not hard to follow football. I feel like sports like soccer and, like, basketball can be pretty hard to follow. Because basketball teams, like, they play, like, every day, like, every other day.
Yeah.
Where we play, like... Football plays once a week for like 14, 15 weeks.
And it's like random people aren't supposed to know that the Utah Jazz are like the best defensive team in the league. Like, who gives a shit? But in football, it's like, oh my God, like you're locked in because it's a scarcity of games. And that's what makes it so exciting.
Right, it's only 30. I mean, there's 32 teams, but like it's only 15 weeks of games.
It's like 200 games total.
200 games total.
And then it's like in basketball.
Even
thousands of games.
Even baseball, like even way more.
Baseball's ridiculous. I mean,
baseball's hard to follow for me.
I don't casually run into a lot of people that are into baseball. Like I feel like there's only a select few nowadays, especially younger people that are into baseball. I feel like baseball is like an older man sport. Like old people like baseball.
It's a slow sport.
It's a slow sport.
It is. Or you've played baseball before.
I'll be honest. I'd love to go to a baseball game because I heard it's fun to be there.
You never went to one?
I've never went to a baseball game before.
What?
That's the best.
No.
But
it's fun.
The Phillies, yeah.
The Phillies, yeah. It's summertime.
It's good.
I heard it's really nice. And
get Chickies and Pete's. That's my go-to. That's the only reason I go to anything like sports related is for Chickies and Pete's.
Food.
Dude, when we were at the Flyers game, that was like the first thing I said. I was like, I'm getting my Chickies and Pete's. Like,
Flyers is fun to watch.
$15 bucket of fries.
Oh, dude.
Sixers is fun to watch.
Started. But yeah, man, I don't know. I should get into football because my brother's so into it, honestly. But that's the reason why you guys said like I'd be good at fantasy. Isn't it a thing like if you don't really know a lot,
bro?
Sometimes you pick on prejudice and you do better in fantasy.
Exactly. What's crazy is 3 years ago I played for the first time with our group of friends, and I had no idea what I was doing. But honestly, I studied a bit. Like every week, I take some time off.
Yeah.
Studied, paid attention to the players and the movement and the change of the game and stuff like that. I ended up winning the league, being the champion. My first year. And then next year, our buddy Pete, and then I lost in the championships. Yeah. But it was a good run. It was fun. It's
Wait, you
fun.
lost this year?
I lost this year in the championships. No, I came second place. Ricky won.
Oh, okay. Do you play, Dave?
I don't. I don't know if I'd be good or not, but I don't play.
Bro, trust me.
I feel like you'd be really good.
Trust me, bro. You'll have fun playing it. Even if it's your first time, you have no idea. The rules are simple. Just study the rules and just study the waivers. Study pay attention to the games. Watch Honestly, you don't need to watch games really. Just watch highlights to figure out who do you want. Yeah, because you make judgment calls.
I mean, my biggest thing is every year before the season starts, I'm like, all right, I think these teams will be good. These teams, and I know a lot about the league. Like I try and keep track, and even then, it's like you never know. Like this year, the Falcons and Matt Ryan. He was okay last year. Like, he did really great the first half, really puttered out the last. So there was no knowing that he was going to be as good as he was. I saw in some people's, fantasy leagues, he was the best, I think, all year. He was taken, in the 12th round or whatever of fantasy leagues. Like, nobody thought to take him. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's crazy. Like, you never know who's going to rise up. Especially of older players who can come up, like Kirk Cousins, for instance.
Kirk Cousins.
Nobody would take him.
It goes back to my point. Like, sometimes if you know less, you'll do better because you just pick based off whatever.
Yeah. Because you don't have any bias like, oh, DeAndre Hopkins was great with Brian Hoyer. He'll be great with Brock Osweiler. Nope. I could play as well with Brock Osweiler. Which
is funny because Ricky had him.
Oh, really?
And he never got rid of him, even though we told him to get rid of him.
Thanks, man.
Rid of Hopkins?
Hopkins. He drafted him, I think his number 1 draft pick.
He was his number, not overall, but his
overall.
Number 1. Oh, his number 1 overall?
His number 1.
Over Zeke Elliott?
I don't think he was in...
or Antonio Brown?
I don't think he was in the position picking that he was able to get it. He wasn't the first pick.
Oh, he wasn't the first
pick.
It was just his.
It was just his first round pick.
I was about to say, man.
No. But no.
I mean, he's good. No. I like Hopkins a lot, but that's a gamble.
Yeah, man. No. Speaking of the league, I mean... Have you actually seen the show, The League? You ever heard of The League?
No, what's that about?
Oh, man. I think you need to explain it to him.
Yeah, so The League is pretty much about a group. It's a show that's been... Is it still going?
No, it finally ended the series.
Okay, but you can watch...
8 seasons, I think.
You can watch it on Netflix, but literally it revolves around a group of friends who the only thing that binds them together is fantasy football. Like, that's the only reason why they're friends with each other. And, that's what every episode is about. And it's pretty funny because everybody... in this group of friends has a very distinct personality and way they go about playing, but that's what characterizes them, and it's just called The League, and it's actually hilarious. It's a pretty funny show. It's been around for a while. I know it's one of your favorites.
It is one of my favorites. I was kind of bummed that they ended because it's a type of show you can't really end. You could take it as long as you can, and the writing is great because the thing is it revolves about actually. It stays. In tune with the actual sports climate, with actual players and stuff like actual people. And what's crazy, actual NFL players cameo in the show.
Oh, really?
So you'll see players like Darren Sproles and stuff like that, and
I think you'd like it.
I think who else was there? There's a bunch of other players that featured in the show, but it's fun. It's fun to watch. It's good. It ties in with every week of actual games that actual players put up points and stuff like that. So it does reflect on it.
It writes itself, really. I mean,
pretty much
never ending. That's the crazy thing because I had kind of had this idea a couple years ago that I was going to write a series, a cartoon series about a football team and a made up league and all that. And I was going to take all these storylines from the NFL itself and just kind of make them into somewhat different, so they're my own thing, but they'd be based off of. And I realized there's only so much I would do that'd be even somewhat as interesting as the actual league itself. And it's you can keep going because the league keeps feeding you stories you come up with. But, I mean, you're never going to be as great as the league itself constantly coming up with narratives and coming up with new things. So, I mean, it's one of those things I don't know, with sports movies, it's they can always, there's so much they can draw from. But, the fact, sometimes it seems there's so much they can draw from that it's defeating to limit it to a couple things.
Exactly. What I think you're trying to say is, with a sports movie, you're focusing on a very, a small narrative. Whereas, if you actually have, a comic series about, football, you could focus on, a whole bunch of different arcs and storylines, which is kind of how it is in real life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Football movies only tell one story. And usually a good story. Usually there's some really good football movies. But it's never, a football series would be cool,
Yeah, but, even then, it's, It the way I thought about it was it would be there's so much you could do, but it pales in comparison to the reality of just following the league. I don't know.
To you, it's that whole it's reality stranger than fiction argument,
Yeah.
What is more compelling? But yeah, I totally get you on that. But speaking of series and watching stuff, I wanted to rewatch Samurai Jack and right when I came back on Netflix, it's gone. It was on this summer or something. I remember it was on.
Oh, it's all off?
It was yeah, it's all off. Or I don't know, I might have been imagining things, but I remember seeing it there, and now it's not because that season 5 trailer came out. Did you see that?
I saw it came out. I didn't see it.
Oh
Yeah,
man, dude, it looks pretty.
I'm actually not a huge fan of
Really?
Samurai Jack. I liked it when I was a kid. I like Gendy Tarkovsky, whatever the guy's name is.
Yeah.
He does great stuff. But I mean, I don't know, like the whole cult of personality about Samurai Jack. I like it. It's obviously a good show, but
I never really watched it for a lot of the characterization. I just thought that the minimalism in the animation was very interesting. Like that whole episode, I'm not sure, you might have showed me that, where it's like Jack is fighting that ninja. Remember it's the white and the black thing? Where, or did I show you that? Anyway, there's this episode where Samurai Jack is fighting a ninja, and the ninja is Shadow. So, like, he's... Did you see this one?
I remember the Shadow ninja,
yeah.
and he was having trouble fighting because it was a shadow, so he would just, like, it would so easily escape him.
And then he dresses all in white, remember?
Right.
And whenever the sunlight falls through, like, it's so hard to describe verbally. It's probably one of the hardest scenes ever to describe verbally, but it's just really, really interesting animation. That's why I've always dug it, man. So, but yeah, it's coming back, and it's coming back on Adult Swim. And it just seems to be like super gritty. Like there's more lines now.
It's very
like,
dark.
Yeah, like there's more
very
lines.
dark.
It's more for like the generation because they know that the generation that watched it is all grown up now. So now it's more of like a plot line. Like it's a little more violent. It looks really cool.
there's blood in it now.
Yeah, what's crazy is like, did you see the last one, the Super Bowl trailer of it? I don't know if it was a Super Bowl trailer or what everything. It was like these. I forget. I felt like when I saw that, it reminded me of one of the movies. It reminded me of Hitman.
Oh yeah.
Because the thing is, it was all those female warriors.
It's kind of like
to kill him.
Kill Bill too. Yeah.
Kind of like Kill Bill too.
Yeah. I mean, Dave hasn't seen it, but
No, trust me. When you get a chance, check out the trailer.
I mean, I know Hitman. That's the guy with the barcode on his neck.
Yeah, because the thing is, there was a bunch of female ninjas trying to kill like Samurai Jack. There was like probably like 6 or 7 of them, and it reminded me. I forget
those darn female ninjas.
It reminded me of like it was like a scene from either the movie or one of the video games where it was just all like female nuns, but they were like young and hot, and like they try to kill him.
Dude, oh no, that isn't Hitman. I know what you're talking about. Hitman Absolution. Right, where he goes to the hotel.
Yes.
Oh, dude, yeah, okay, so now I remember that. They have rocket launchers and stuff.
They started firing at the guy.
That's one of the craziest things I've ever played in a video game. I know you're not a big gamer, Dave. You ever played Hitman Absolution?
Nah, I know the movies. My dad's a huge fan of Hitman.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
He's huge. He's watched the movie, both of them, like 500 times.
Wow.
Yeah, he's huge. He loves Hitman.
That's so funny, man. I remember the first movie apparently wasn't that good. I never saw the first
one.
How was the remake? The remake came out like a few years ago.
I've never watched it. But I don't know. He likes movies just in general.
He's just a movie junkie?
He just likes movies. He likes just sitting and watching movies. He got Netflix recently.
Recently?
Yeah. Like literally within the past couple months he got Netflix.
That's gotta be bad.
He'll just like he would watch like crime shows, like detective shows a lot.
Okay.
Like he watched I don't know if you guys heard of Perot. It's like
no,
you never heard of Perot.
No, never heard of that.
Well, it's like this old like A&E show.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's got to be old.
Yeah, it's this French detective. It's from like the 90s, 80s, 90s. He would watch all that. And as soon as he was done with that, he'd watch Midsummer Murders. Then like he would just go series by series, like binge watch stuff. But yeah, I mean, Hitman. That's one of his favorites. He was saying there's a dude on the Eagles, Jordan Hicks, the linebacker, 58. Yeah. He was saying his nickname for him is Hitman 58 because whenever he he broke Tony Romo's shoulder the one year, and he's like, yeah, Hitman 58. We'll send Hitman Hicks on him. that's his big thing.
That is a dad joke.
It is, isn't it?
That's the definition of a dad joke.
Your dad should write a book of dad jokes.
Maybe, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, what stuff have you been watching, if anything, or? I don't know.
Have I been watching? Not making.
Because I know you got stuff on in the background.
Well, recently meaning like since yesterday, I've been watching Dragon Ball, the original.
Yeah.
I've never seen.
Never really got into it.
Yeah, I saw like the first 20 episodes,
and
then I stopped for whatever reason. I never watched all of it. I've been super into it in the past 24 hours. Like I'm all about it. I get kind of obsessive compulsive with shows.
No.
Just be 100% zeroed in on
it. The pacing with the original Dragon Ball is a little slow. That's the only problem behind it. Is that it's kind of like the original Z, where the episodes would just kind of drag
It's
on.
methodical. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
It's
then
like
we do this and then this.
It's like watching Andrew trying to screw in a light bulb, but it takes like 3 episodes to screw in that light bulb.
Something like that,
So-
right?
so-
All right,
like
let me
that.
go to the store. Hit the right light bulb. All right.
Well, honestly, like,
It's a lot of dialogue too.
a lot of the early toy like continuations that like the shonen mangas, you know what I'm saying, like those animes, like the episodes are 20 minutes and there's not really a lot that's accomplished. I mean, that's why DBZ Kai came out, where it's just like, now if you watch Dragon Ball Z Kai, like it's totally manageable, like you can go through it and it's good. But Dragon Ball, the manga is really good. I'm not sure if you've read the
I read like
original
the first couple, like the
Okay.
first 3, I think, and then I stopped. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I know some of the story,
Yeah.
but then I just had to stop for whatever
Well,
reasons.
it's a real journey through Akira Toriyama's like idea for what Dragon Ball is supposed to be. In the beginning, it's super comical. You know, it's
Yeah.
still an adventure. It very much draws from Journey of the West, almost like very obviously in the beginning, and then it starts to
Yeah.
become its own thing, like gradually. And then when you get to Z, it's its own genre pretty much.
Yeah,
But,
and I mean that's what I kind of like about it, is that, I mean, because obviously I've seen Dragon Ball Z hundreds of times,
Of course.
so like, you know, I never even as a kid saw Dragon Ball. I just wanted to get into it, and it's cool because it's like it's the same universe, obviously the same art, same characters, but just slightly different. And it's slightly something that I haven't seen before. That's what I really enjoy about it. And like, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's like, for what I like about it, it's like, one, it's funny, at least in the beginning, and it's like less serious and like kind of,
Lighthearted.
yeah, it's lighthearted, and it's something that I think Toriyama is slightly better at than the fighting all the time stuff.
Yeah.
That he gets to. Not that that's bad, obviously.
Well,
It's great.
I've always had a theory with him that Z was kind of a product of fan service. You know, people really liked the direction that Z was going, and then he started doing just like a fighting manga. But if you really like read and watch Dragon Ball, it's more of an adventure. You know, it's kind of along the lines of One Piece. You know, like
Yeah.
they're searching for something. There's people that join their team, and like that's kind of like, you know, the style that he likes. And if you watch Super, it kind of reverts back to that. Like he kind of went back to like the Dragon Ball formula. But that's why Dragon Ball is like a nice breather, because it's more of like, it's an adventure based series, which is cool, and it's a really good one too. Probably one of the best, honestly.
I mean, yeah, I think the world of it. I just think everything, like, the way I look at cartoons, like, especially anime, manga stuff,
Yeah.
stuff that just feels like it's its own thing. It's kind of detached from other stuff, and it's unique. And that's the thing, not only in the art, but the way it's told, the story, and all that. And that's what I like about it so much, is that's just its own thing. And,
Yeah.
you know, obviously there's stuff that's influenced by it. I mean, Naruto, One Piece, and all that. But, I mean, the reason it's endured for years is just because it's so unique and it's so fresh compared to a lot of other stuff.
Definitely.
It's amazing.
It's what's so odd is that I read a lot of interviews with Toriyama, and a lot of the arcs and stuff were kind of like really, you know, they were thought up of like hours before they were drawn, almost, it seems. You know, like he wasn't somebody that like really planned and how to get to like an ending. You know, it was just kind of like he came up with this stuff, and sometimes I feel like, you know, that's for the best. I feel like Dragon Ball was a lot of improvisation,
Yeah.
apparently, according to him. But it doesn't seem like that when you're watching it. Like, yeah, it seems like really crazy and like sometimes very like random, but it always seems like very concrete. But it's just different from the style of writing that I think you do with your series, where, I mean, you're making stuff up, but you have like arcs planned ahead and time and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's because that's a discussion we got into with Jameson the one time, where basically it was like we were talking about One Piece, and he said, "Oh, like Oda had it all planned out from the very beginning." I'm like, "We didn't have it all planned out.
Right.
You have just basic ideas where you want to take it, and then in between you come up with stuff like in the here and now of what you're working on. It's like chapter to chapter. Like if I'm talking to just what I do, chapter to chapter, I don't really know what's going to happen in the next chapter. I just have a general idea, and I'm just kind of filling in like piece by piece where it takes me, and I just have a general sense, like." You know, and that's, I think, with Dragon Ball, that's what I kind of like, is that it's just kind of going, all right, here, now we're here, now we're here.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? One dog's looking this way, one dog's looking the other way.
Dude, I was trying to describe that scene to somebody the other day, but there's no way to describe it without like taking the punch out of it. You gotta watch it. You know what I'm saying,
Oh,
dude?
from Goodfellas?
Oh my god, dude, that scene is so funny, man. Where he has the pictures of the two dogs. Joe Pesci, man. One's looking this way, one's looking the other way. What do you get? No, and this guy's saying, "What do you want from me?" You ever seen Goodfellas, man?
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably a while ago,
It's been a
man.
while.
Oh my gosh, dude, that scene is classic.
I was like, Frank Vincent was talking about how when he was in the trunk in the scene, like he had somebody come up to him after the movie, like at a premiere, and they were asking, like, how did you breathe while you were in the trunk? And he's like, you thought I was in the trunk for real, you idiot.
People do that, man. It's so interesting that people like that exist. I remember I was watching. Are you an Office guy, Dave? I never had. You watched The Office?
I watched it like huge when I was in grade school, high school, but then it just tailed off. But
yeah.
I mean, I was huge into it.
I think it was in one of the interviews. John Krasinski said that people come up to him and ask, like, "Hey, how are you and Pam?" Like you know what I'm saying? Like he's just like, "What are you talking about?"
Doing good.
Yeah, it's funny how people. I don't know. I guess if you're not really involved in production, sometimes that stuff just slips your mind. But man, there's so many great scenes in Goodfellas, man.
In fairness, I mean that's like a credit to the realism,
right?
Like The Office, Goodfellas. Like people are so into it that they're like, "Oh my god! Like what are they gonna do with them?"
Yeah,
it's like violence in movies sometimes, where like it looks like they're chopping somebody's arm off. Like personally, I get like skeeved out when I see some stuff.
At
like,
first, when I watched The Office, I didn't like it because like the style of cinematography. It's
like
kind of like a semi-documentary.
Yeah.
It's like a mockumentary, which I didn't like. But like once you get through it, you fall in love with it. But like, I know the same producers produced Parks and Rec, I believe, or
I
the
think
same
so.
And you
network.
like that series?
And like, I actually did not get a chance to watch it because like the first couple episodes just so dragged out that I was just like, I don't want to watch it. So
it got better, but yeah,
I know it gets better. Like
yeah.
all my friends tell me, like, bro, just keep watching it. You'll love it by like the halfway throughout the first season. And I just didn't have time to do it. I've been watching all this anime.
Yeah, dude. I've even been heavy into Gundam.
Bro, did you see that new website I showed you?
Oh, the 9? Yeah, we
9
checked
anime.
it the other day. Yeah.
Do you think it's better than Go Go Anime?
I think it's pretty legit. I
love it because the thing is, it has everything like Go Go Anime, but everything's more updated.
Okay.
And like they do have a lot more English dubbing.
He's talking about streaming sites.
So this site called 9 Anime.
9 Anime.
And they even have the new Dragon Ball Super updated.
Yeah.
So it's the full like HD 1080p quality.
Wow.
English dubbing. So every time like Cartoon Network releases, I guess the day after somebody uploads it. One admin or two admins.
Yeah, right. Some thief. I always think about that.
Yeah, some felon.
Some felon.
I think about that too. Like whenever I'm on manga eating, I'm like, dude, somebody like just took the chapter and scanned it immediatee. Like they scanned it as soon as they bought it, and they translated it and everything.
Well, that's like Taiyo Kubo, the guy who did Bleach. There were American fans who were tweeting him, and they were saying, "Oh, congratulations on the new chapter," because it was like his 500th chapter. And he's like, you guys aren't supposed to get this till like a couple months from now. What the hell's going on? And then I guess he knew there were sites, but he didn't realize like how instant the sites were. And he was like, what the hell is this? Like, they're just putting my stuff online for free. No one has to buy it. I don't make any money. So then, like, he started this whole thing. It's like, I think it's SOPA, where it's,
stop piracy.
And, like, everyone's like, oh, Ichiro Oda doesn't care. He's not for SOPA. It's like, yeah, well, he makes gajillions of dollars.
He makes billions.
He doesn't
billions. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He still gets money.
Yeah, like, people will buy the merchandise, they'll buy the movies. Like, they'll buy that. But, I mean... Cuba was getting screwed.
There's no way to stop it, though. What are you about to say?
I was laughing because when he said about the internet, I remember we went to lunch with your parents, and you were like, your mom was, I guess she was talking about piracy and stealing stuff off the internet, stuff like that, and you're like, well, Mom, that's the internet, that's how it works. And you said it so sarcastically that I was cracking up in my seat.
I don't remember saying
it. Just reminded me that it's just, your mom was like, why do people do that? Why do people steal other people's stuff off the internet? I was like, well, Mom, that's the internet, that's how it works.
I don't remember saying that, but it's kind of true. I mean, like, honestly,
you did say that.
I mean, you know, it just sucks, especially when you're mangaka, man, because like, what are you gonna do? Like, that's your hard work, man. Like, that's why I get nervous sometimes when I'm posting my stuff. Not that no, because I don't have any financial gain. Yeah. I'm always afraid like someone's gonna like try and like take one of my stuff.
That's what my friend warned me about this type of stuff. Like when you do photography stuff like that, and you put it out there, and if you don't have like copyright, you know, he says like at least work with
You can do poor man's copyright. I learned that at one of my ethics class, media ethics.
What is poor man's? I forget.
You pay like $60. It's like do you know about this?
I know there's a thing where you mail something to yourself, and it's like posted by the federal government.
Yeah.
So it's like a date stamp.
Oh, it's like you get it notarized?
Yeah, and you never open it. but it's like you mail, like say you wrote a script,
Okay.
and you mail it into the government, and it's sent back to you. It goes through federal mail. It's dated, and I don't think that's legit, but that's what people say. Maybe I don't know if that's what you're talking about. That's like a poor man's.
Yeah, it's like a poor man's copyright, but you can just like kind of cheat your way into getting a copyright
because you show that like you had it done at this date. It belongs to you. But
I'm not sure. I gotta look into it more because like all my friends was like, you gotta copyright this and that. You know.
Well, you definitely need a watermark as a photographer.
Well, I do use a watermark.
Yeah.
I gotta start putting it out now, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have watermarks.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I do that, but what I do is on the metadata when you take photos, especially with these DSLRs, you have like your own metadata and like a specific code.
Oh, really?
That anytime that somebody pulls it off the internet, if you look through the code in the script, like you break down the photo, look through the script, you'll find your code in there, and then it tracks back to you. That's what my friend told me. He does. He's been doing it for years, but he's like, if you don't use a watermark, at least use a metadata.
Yeah.
Like a specific unique metadata you can hide in your photos.
Unique metadata.
It's like
1, 2, 3.
That's
Right.
that's so and so's photo.
I don't know anything about
that. That's crazy though. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Touching on the internet, technology is becoming way too like. It's too much. Like there's too much that we're doing. Like it's too much like controlling like the fact that you can take a photo and take metadata. It's like, oh, so and so took this photo. That's insane. I don't like where we're going. I don't like where we're headed. I don't like how easy it is to do everything. I think there should be some barriers to entry in order to do things.
It's only gonna get more.
Like, I mean, anybody can make a movie. It doesn't have to be great, but anybody can make a movie.
That's what Tarantino said, and I talked about that in my last episode. Did you hear that? I'm gonna tell the story again on this podcast, but he was at a Comic-Con, and some guy was like, "How do I get into the film industry?" It was a basic question he's asking Tarantino, and he goes, "Make Reservoir Dogs," and everyone laughs, and he goes, "But no, seriously," he's like, "Make Reservoir Dogs, make something that's good." And if you make something good, then people will, they'll watch it and they'll pay for it if it's that good. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you're right, dude. Anybody can make a movie nowadays. And I think that's what's so crazy. What's so crazy to me is I see like these guys who were like Vine stars and now they're like in huge budget movies. Like, dude, like they didn't go to acting school or anything. There's people that spent their whole life in acting school and they can't get into the industry. And somebody made you laugh on your phone, and now this person is in every movie.
I don't like this at all because I don't want to discredit Vine stars.
I don't want to.
Because I'm sure they work hard for.
Dude, yeah, there's some hard work.
But like, the thing is, it kind of gets me mad. Like you're just some random dude who makes funny 6-second videos for, like every day of the week and posts them out and get a lot of followers. And then now like major companies like ABC or Disney, they contact you. It's like, hey, we want you in a movie or on this TV show. And it kind of makes me feel bad for the people that actually go to auditions and get turned down over and over and over again till they finally get their big break. And these people right here just take an app and just like change their life around, and now they're making millions of dollars.
Well, my argument would be, in fairness, that the Vine star was so interesting that all it took was 6 seconds for people to be hooked on them.
Right.
And the other person spent years going to auditions and no one was interested in it. I mean, maybe that's just, you're not cut out for it. And that's the thing, like, because sometimes, like, I think, like, man, can I be doing this? Am I cut out for this? Like, it kind of sucks. You get weighted down with anxiety of, like, am I, like, meant to do this?
Am I good enough? Yeah.
And, like, so I get it, like, how that would suck to, like, suddenly have to reevaluate what you're going to be doing for life when you wanted to be an actor, when you wanted to do this or that. So that sucks. But maybe sometimes you got to just face it, like, you can't do it.
Right.
But, for every time someone says that, then there's, like, Kurt Warner bagging groceries.
Don't quit.
And, like, then he wins the Super Bowl a year later.
Yeah,
I mean, you never know.
My take on it is this, man. Only you know. That's the thing. That's the tricky part. Only you know if you're cut out for it. And if you're not, you got to be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be like, you can't play in the NBA if you're, like, 4 feet tall. You know what I'm saying? Like, as many motivational posters as, like, you read, like, it's not, you have to be realistic with yourself. There's some things
you got to know your limits.
But to what you're saying, Jay, the reason why, those people are balling out, and you know why, but, like, it's supply and demand. Like, whenever they go on this person's Instagram account and they see 1 million views, like, the logic behind it is, wow, 1 million people want to watch this person, so we got to give them a shot. We got to put them in a movie. Because so many people want to see them, and it doesn't matter. Like,
it's gonna be a name, a popular name people know.
But see, that's the upside with the technology is now more than ever, like the viewers and audience are choosing like what they want to see, and the industry has no choice but to deliver on that, because otherwise it's like, we're not going to pay for it. We won't watch it. You know what I'm saying? We want to see this. And now it's like it's being catered to more than ever. Netflix is a prime example. I feel like I should just call my podcast Netflix because all I do is talk about Netflix on the podcast. But seriously, dude, like that's the whole reason. Like,
get a sponsorship.
That's the whole reason. Maybe that's the whole reason why seasons are back, man. It's because like I want to watch this. It's canceled. No, I want to watch it, and now it's back. You know.
Yeah, that happened with The Killing. I think that was a show that was on AMC. Got canceled for a couple seasons, and then they brought it back to Netflix to finish it because people wanted to see it.
Same thing like with like Arrested Development. I mean, they canceled it on TV. They revived it, and now they keep it on.
Sometimes it goes bad. Boondocks. People wanted a 4th season, and that 4th season was the worst thing in the world. Did you watch the Boondocks?
I watched the first 3 seasons, and then because you told me not to watch.
Now that you mentioned that,
because Aaron McGrew didn't write it. It'd be like watching Dragon Ball, but not Toriyama. Well, that's GT. Some people like GT. Never mind.
I've watched it.
We don't talk about this here. That's
you like GT?
I don't know. There's things I liked about it, but I mean,
it was lighthearted. It did kind of remind you of Dragon Ball. Like when Goku was a kid, it was a bit lighthearted with Trunks and
It's
Pan.
like The Godfather Part 3. I mean, it's
right.
No, some people love and hate it. That's exactly right.
It's
polarizing.
It's like a Nick Cage movie.
If it wasn't like attached to 2 of the greatest things ever in terms of anime or whatever, like it would probably be like an okay-ish.
The concept of Super Saiyan 4 was cool.
You're right.
It's just like if Toriyama was able to...
He drew him.
I know.
I liked when...
If he actually made that canon and made him taking over GT and actually doing GT, then yeah, people would be cool with it.
I liked when Vegeta didn't train to become Super Saiyan 4. He just had Bulma use science.
Science.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Jameson saw it life.
Oh yeah, you never saw...
I never watched it, ever.
That's why, because it wasn't canon. Yeah, basically, Goku trained to be Super Saiyan 4. To beat Vegeta, just like... He's like, alright, Bulma, help me train to be Super Saiyan. She's like, alright, I'm gonna shoot you with some stuff, and you'll become Super Saiyan 4. And he does.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy.
And that sounds totally in Vegeta's character to take the easy way out, right?
Of course not.
But I've always wondered, because we've always seen Vegeta with Super Saiyan 2, and then Super Saiyan God, and Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. We never seen him in Super Saiyan 3 form. I mean, I've seen fan art and stuff like that, but it's Vegeta.
You know, that's the thing with science. It messes up the natural order of things. You know.
Nah, Vegeta always skips a step. That's kind of the.
I feel like now Vegeta, like watching Dragon Ball Super. I feel like they're now neck and neck. Goku's always been the one of the edge.
Oh, in terms of power.
In terms of power, because like the thing is, when I saw Battle of the Gods, when you see him fight Beerus for the first time, Vegeta, he just loses it because he kind of knocks out Bulma.
Yeah, he got mad,
and he gets mad, and then you hear what's the guy named
Roshi.
Master Roshi. Yeah. He's like Beerus pissing off Vegeta made him stronger than Goku. And I was like, dang.
But it's weird because he's always mad.
He's always mad, but the thing is, he's just mad, but like he has a legitimate reason to be mad now.
Yeah, I guess
because
so.
You smacked his wife.
But you haven't really been up on Super, have you?
No, I'm waiting until there's a lot of English episodes.
A lot of English episodes. Yeah, it's only 5. It's only 5 episodes.
There's only 5 of them.
You still have a long time to wait.
And they're getting released like 1 per week.
Yeah, they should totally do 2, but whatever.
Well, I think when we were kids, they used to do like they would do 1 a day, all week.
Well, yeah, because the thing is like,
they did.
They like hundreds of them.
Yeah, because like the series was already done in like Japan, and like it took years for it to come to the United States.
Yeah, like it was like I remember watching him fight Frieza while Namek was exploding. I remember I was like 6, watching it like every day. Like, oh boy, it's gonna happen.
What's crazy was growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch Dragon Ball Z. It was very violent. So I go next door every night with my friend and watch it at his house.
I'd also watch it at a friend's house because I have cable. But yeah, I'd do the same
thing.
But
yeah, I'd go over and watch it over their house.
Yeah, I mean that was like that's like. That's why I really got into cartoons, like especially now in my life where I'm trying to make them. Is like when I was a kid, it was 100% what I was about. Like the Dragon Ball, like following, like what's gonna happen when he fights Cell? What's gonna and then like in Yu-Gi-Oh, I remember like we literally were like amped when he was gonna play Pegasus at the end of the first arc. And we're like, oh, what's gonna happen? Like, what's he doing? Like my one friend's like, tape it for me. I can't see it. Like, give me the tape. Like we're going ape shit over it. It's like I just love how like average cartoon like SpongeBob and all that you'll watch like, oh, that was funny. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But like the level of intensity with which you needed to watch Dragon Ball.
There's always those cliffhangers at the end of the episode.
Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Like that's what I loved about cartoons when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
the whole continuity.
hope I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you are, man. When I read Meir Katz, I see that. The way you end chapters is pretty good, man. You know, and it makes you want to read the next one, for sure.
Oh, there's only like 2 people reading, so
Dude, you don't know that at all. You obviously haven't been on your Tapastic, man.
I guess I don't know. It seems like there's no one reading. Like I'm obsessive about like checking. I'm like, who's reading? No one's reading.
Yeah, I'm like,
why do you like that though?
No, it is a thing.
Know.
It is a thing like that because, like, especially with me for my photography thing, you know, I have a separate account on Instagram, and I'm always checking like who saw my photos, who liked them, did I get new followers. It's always a thing you always want to check up on your work.
I guess, man.
People are being receptive to it. You know, yeah. I get the niche. I get the thing.
Yeah, because I mean, like, you're putting a lot of energy into something.
It's like your baby. You know, you're putting all this time and effort, and you just like, oh, I want to see this. I want to see people liking it and stuff like that.
Yeah, you want people, and like obviously people are reading it. Like I'm being facetious. It's not like no one's reading. People are reading it, but it's like I want everyone in the world to read it. So it's kind of tough to.
He's like, look at it.
This is look at it.
I want all of you to look at it.
This is pretty much what it is. Yeah.
Everybody does that. I think with what they make, and the hard pill to swallow is that it takes time and consistency in order for people to get it, because you know they want like reliable updates and stuff like that. That's what's so hard with me and the ribbon. But I think the big kicker is going to be like when you get the first book of Meir done. Like that's going to be, you know what I'm saying, when you actually have like the book in your hands, it's like the first volume of it. Like that's going to be substantial, man. Because
that's I think the biggest thing, and this is what I was talking about earlier with like everybody can make a movie. Like specifically talking about Tapastic, how would you say it? There's so many series on there, and
so many.
A lot of them are like, a lot of them are like great, and it's like hard to differentiate which ones could be good because they're new and like, you know, like there's no barrier for entry for people to make a comic series.
There's
like,
no
anybody
like,
can do it.
Yeah,
So therefore, not only is it harder for them to get recognition for what they're doing, it's harder for other people because like you get lumped in with it's just some crap. Like what is there only like 2 chapters? I'm not reading that.
Oh yeah.
So like, you know, that's like Asylum's like that. I think people liked Asylum when I posted that, but like we haven't done a new chapter in forever.
But you have the story. The story's there. You know what I'm saying? So you can always come back to it.
Yeah, but like that's the thing where it's like people like. I feel like, especially when it's stuff that's not like big time productions, like they're from like recognized companies or brands like Cartoon Network, Shonen Jump. People aren't going to give it a lot of leeway at first, unless like there's like 50 chapters and a lot of other people like it, then they'll stick with it.
Be like, okay, yeah.
But if they don't like it, like immediately, and there's only like 3 chapters and no one's reading it, they'll just get rid of this. Sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's tough because there's so much stuff out there because there's no barrier for entry. I think it's a thing in art. Like they used to have, like in the medieval times, you would have art was predominantly for the church, especially in Europe, and it would only be able to be seen by like nobles and people who are rich and wealthy would go to church. And there was this aurora about the art that made it special just because it was separated from certain segments of the population.
Society, yeah. It wasn't just outside.
Yeah, it wasn't just everywhere.
Place. Yeah.
And it was like, it made it special because a very few amount of people could see it. But now everybody can see everything.
Anytime.
And there's so many things to see. And now it's not special.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, it bums me out sometimes when I think about that.
It's bittersweet, right? Because it's great that you have a platform to distribute it to everybody in the world, but at the same coin, that's what makes it worth less. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a curse and a blessing at the same time. But I choose to see it as it's a blessing if you just continue to do it, man. And no one knows more about that than you, man. You work on stuff tirelessly. And I just kind of want to shift over to talk about the Jin, and for people who listen, Dave is doing an animated iteration of a comic that he wrote with our friend Jameson. And what's been the hardest part of it, man? Because like you've really been working hard on it, and I can't wait till it comes out. It's gonna be awesome.
The hardest part.
On just animation in general.
Just animating Djinn?
Yeah, because animation's tough.
I don't know. Like, I guess the biggest thing is consistency in what you're doing.
With style or proportion?
I guess style and quality.
Okay.
I would say. Because there's things like, this is the first animated thing that I'm really putting a lot of effort in. There's stuff that I did in a class that I had at Temple where I would monkey around experimenting. But this is the one where it has to all kind of fit together and look good playing sequentially,
right.
like scene by scene. And that's tough. I mean, like, just making sure, like, the art style looks close to one another. Because it's a learning experience for me just to do it. And probably, like, everything I do is always a learning experience for how I can get better, no matter how good I think I am at something. So with the Djinn, like, there's stuff with the background art. I've been studying, like, all these different ways where, like, Disney, how they used to do background art in, like, the 60s, like Sword in the Stone, Dalmatians, Jungle Book. There's this real kind of, like, interesting, kind of lively, like, you know, sketchy kind of quality background art that I like. So I would try and monkey around with that, but it wasn't quite the results I wanted, but I'd still use this here. And sometimes it would get kind of jangled with, like, what type of background style I'd be using. And it would kind of clash. And so I think, and that would also carry into animation, like how I'd animate. Like, sometimes I'd like to have a lot of movement. Sometimes I don't need all the movement, but it's knowing when to have a lot of movement, when not to have a lot of movement. I mean, like, it's mainly because I'm new at it, I guess. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, consistency, I'd say, is the biggest thing. It's just being confident in what you're doing. So,
I always have a hard time with consistency, even in comics. Like, I feel like the mark of a good illustrator, especially when it comes to comics or animation, is like having your characters like look the same in size, proportion, be the same in different scenes. Because it's so easy to, like, especially when you're drawing really fast, to just make them look completely different. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just, for me, it's always been a matter of just drawing those characters over and over again until you can do it with all the portions correctly without even thinking about it. Like, that's probably the trick they used in Meir. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, you've drawn Meir Katz so many times that's just like, you can draw him like really fast and have him look very consistent, you know?
Yeah,
I think when you're animating a series, like when you're an animator for a series, you've drawn these characters so many times that it's exactly what you said. It's confidence, but it's also muscle memory. And that's what gets you able to work faster. Yeah,
and I mean, like, that's the thing. The past year and a half or so, that's the biggest thing I've been trying to focus on with my art is I'm not really like cartoony, like, you know, like Fairly Odd Parents type cartoony style.
Yeah, of course.
I like my biggest influence, I think, for me was stylistically Bleach, Taita Cuba, where he had this sort of realism in the way characters were drawn and the proportions and all that. I was super into that, so I tried to draw it, but it's tough to do that consistently unless you're really great. So I've had to sort of add more elements that are kind of universal shapes for, like, hands and proportions and all that, and eyes. And, like, that's the thing that I've really tried to focus on is just things that are, like, economic ways to show this. Like, so, like, you know, I have this thing when people stand, like, their hands are like this, their fingers just kind of pop out weirdly. Like, I mean, you know, it's little things where, like, an ear is, like, real round and quick. Like, I got the general shape of how to draw it. And, I mean, that's the thing, like, that going back to the confidence thing, the confidence in the lines is something that people, I think, can see and, like, they understand intuitively if something's done confidently.
Right.
That's something, like, for a couple, like, I guess for the year or so that we've been doing Ribbon and Meir Katz side by side, like, the Ribbon, when I see it, has a lot of confidence in the lines. Like, there's, because you've been drawing for years.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
You know what you're doing, and that's something I think I got to get better at. Is with Meir Katz, it's like a little sketchy, and, you know, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but it's something that I think any artist has to really get down, is to know exactly where they want to go.
Right. You said this, and I'll never forget that. You told me that one thing Ichiro Oda said, like, somebody asked him, like, how do I don't know, like, make comics or something like that. And he's like, be able to draw anything.
Yeah.
Like, if you learn to draw, literally, if you think of something and, like, you can draw it without, like, looking at a reference, like, that's when you're there. And that's like almost an impossible task. But literally, he's saying, like, you have to draw that much. You know what I'm saying? And that's something I've learned. And you're someone who's self-taught, which makes it even more impressive because, like, you literally taught yourself to draw late in life. Like I've been drawing since I was 6. You taught yourself in college, right, or in high school?
Yeah, like I'd taken some art classes in high school, but I had a friend who was super into art, so like it got me into it.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like a dilettante, dilettante. That's the male version of it, where you're like kind of sort of in like books and painting and music, and you're doing all this.
What's that called?
A dilettante. I think that's the word.
You ever heard of that?
It might be the wrong word.
Fact check.
It's like
He's fact checking you on this.
It's like a
someone who's
it's sort of like
A dilettante?
yeah, it's sort of like a dandy, like you're like, oh, I'm reading this book and I'm doing this.
A
Look how great I
dandy.
am. And
Dilettante.
I'm
Person
sorry.
who's-
I know you didn't want to make this a big deal, but I guess we're
one
making
who
it one now.
dabbles in an art or a field of knowledge.
Whoa.
A
Look at
lover,
you.
a lover
Yo,
of fine
see?
arts. It's an archaic term.
I'm about to call this Dilettante Podcast.
did you just say I said an archaic term? How dare you?
But what were you saying?
It's what it's telling me.
What were you saying?
I was saying like I was into like things as passing things like, oh, now I'm painting. Oh,
Right.
now I'm doing music.
Right.
And that was cool. That's what I liked about high school. You could do anything really.
You dabble.
But like I wasn't like super into illustrating and painting. Like this is what I want to do with my life. I really was into film, and that's the intersection of painting and art and film and cartoons kind of came about.
Yeah.
Where I'm at now. But yeah, I mean, seriously, trying to draw, that was like sophomore year of college.
Insane, dude.
Yeah.
And you've come so far. Like when I people are obviously haven't seen the new Meir chapter yet. Wait, is it? No, you're saving it. 4?
Yeah, I'm saying
The architecture in it, though, and I talked to you in person, the architecture in it, though, isn't like awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, that to me shows confidence, you know? Like, there's what I'm trying to say is there's elements of everyone's style, like your style that you're really confident in, and there's elements where you're not. And I think, like, even the greats have that. Like, there's certain things that they're not, like, Toriyama said he was always really bad at drawing women. And Ichiro Oda said, well, you're really good at drawing machines. And he's right. Like, Toriyama's really good at drawing machines. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're really good at drawing architecture. But like you said with hands, some things maybe not so much. You know what I'm saying?
I don't understand why hands are so hard.
It's because, like, there's things about it. Like, it's easy once you get it, because there's, like, lines, like, there's the line here, and then the little curves. But it's a proportion of making it not seem scary.
Right.
Especially
Gotcha.
with women, their hands have to be kind of dainty.
Dainty, small.
And so there can't be a lot of lines which you would use to show that you know how to draw a hand. And, like,
Exactly.
it's just kind of, it's one of those weird things where you have, as an artist, have to have a clear understanding and a confidence in what you're trying to set out to do. So, like, a man's hand, you can get the general shape, and people
General shape, bulky. And
It's
stuff
very
like that.
boxy.
and
Like,
stuff.
yeah, because like if you watch like if you read DC comics, you see Superman's hand is like nice, big, bulky, and then you see Wonder Woman's it's kind of slender and
Yeah.
dainty.
Men's hands a lot of times in comics and cartoons are always clenched. And it's done intentionally that way because it's easier to draw a hand clenched, always. So, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of
Yeah, it's
fists.
a little thumb.
Yeah,
Whenever,
little thumbs.
whenever you
the
read a
lines of
comic,
the
there's a
hands.
lot of fists. You're always going to see these knuckles. You know what I'm saying?
I
But
always like the One Piece drawings, and like Naruto does them too, where it's just like in the very foreground will be the drawing of the knuckles and the thumb.
right.
It's like this huge drawing, and then in perspective, there's like foreshortening.
Yeah.
So you just see the character behind a huge fist.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I mean,
That's always a great perspective. Easier said than done. Because as soon as you draw that hand, your mind plays tricks on you with how you do
yeah.
the arm. You know what I'm saying? Facing the camera. We call it the camera. Like, if the viewer is
I got
looking
you.
at it this way,
Yeah.
right? And the fist is here, you always think about, like, how am I going to draw, like, the arm coming that way? And the trick is, what I learned, and this works for me, everybody has a different style. I like to use a model. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a toy or whatever that
Yeah.
I'll pose into that way. And I'll look at it from the perspective that I'm going to draw it, and then just imagine my character doing it and draw it the same way. But over a period of time, you can just do it without the model. You know what I'm saying? And that's comes with repetition.
That's
You ever
what,
use drawing figure models or anything like that?
I tried to, because I was like, I was real into, I'm going to be like professional artist. I'll do this, and I got like
You're on your way.
I tried, and I got like one of those little models that you like with the no face and like
The
just,
wooden ones.
Yeah,
They
it's
still
just,
stand.
it's just stupid. Like it it wouldn't stay in a pose or just kind of like fall back. And like, what good are you? So then, like,
Right. We use the wooden ones, right?
yeah.
They have these fancy plastic ones now that just they look like an
They
action.
have this creepy one that it's like a hand. Going back to hand, it's a full
Oh, yeah, yeah.
hand.
Oh, it's just a full hand.
It looks
you,
like Anakin's hand from like Star Wars. It's creepy.
and
but-
you're able to bend the fingers and stuff like that. Certain
Yeah,
poses.
and the big thing is it shows you the joints, because that's the big thing of the hand is knowing the joint spacing and like how to. Big thing I like about hands is like the somewhere the Oda definitely does it, but there's other ones where the hand is like huge, like as a fist. It's like colossal compared to what it proportionally would be, but it looks good in terms of style.
And those are usually, I mean, for characters that align with that kind of personality, stronger characters. You know, what I'm saying they have those. You know, it looks cool.
It does,
exactly like what you just said.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. One thing I've started to get into was getting. I don't know if you're going to Michael's or AC Moore, but they'll have like little statues of like animals, like little like there's stuff that kids would play with, and they got like every animal you can think of. Yeah. And they're like $5-7, and you can buy them and like just study how the animal looks because they're realistic, and you can get a good sense of how. Like there's one where it was an eagle, and it like its wings were kind of ruffling out. So, but it's not like spread out. It's like when it's on its back and just about to. So you get a sense of like
what it would look like expanding. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really cool.
Those are super important, man, if you're going to draw, especially if you're going to draw animals, because there's a lot of things with limb proportion. You know, when you're drawing a horse, I'm sure when you started drawing Masato, you found that the leg proportion that a horse has, you know, like really gives it its realism. Because if it's too short, it looks like a completely different animal, you know?
Plus the biggest thing that like drove me crazy about horses when I like really looked at them, because I would do doodles. I'm like, it's a horse.
Yeah, right, exactly. I know
but like the way that their necks like go into their chest, like they have huge, colossal necks, and their chest is huge because of the muscle. And it's like, unless you study it, like and you really consciously are aware of it, you don't realize how like muscular that area is. And so like for a while, and even now, like because I mean, Masato thinks she's like a pony, so she's like a smaller version of a horse. But I mean, like, it's insane, like how wrong I was in my approach to drawing a horse.
Well, I mean, that's the reason why when children draw, it looks so monstrous, because what they perceive in their mind, they exaggerate. Yeah. So when they're drawing somebody with an interesting face, the face is not 3 times the size of their body, but that's what they focus on the most. I feel like when you're drawing a horse, you're really focusing on the head, right? The nose, you're thinking about like how the snout comes out. Yeah. And you're not thinking about exactly what you said, how the chest is so big, how the neck is like super thick, you know, coming up to the head. And like those are the kind of details that you have to look out for. And that's why models are so important, you know, when you're drawing and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, there's a lot of animals. Like I remember for Asylum, I was drawing a dog. Because there's the one dog that comes out.
Yeah, the one that's the victim.
Yeah, and like I was just trying to figure out what dog I wanted to draw, and like I had a general idea of a sketch of the dog, but like the way the eyes would set on the skull, the shape of the skull, the shape of the snout, shape of the ears, like I was just kind of generally off in all. Like what I drew was like a dog, like you would get it, but it wasn't quite like a real dog. And it's just one of those things where, and that's like what Oda was saying, where you need to be able to draw anything, like. You need to have like a sort of concept of the reality of images. And a lot of times you could say, well, it's a style, or it's just a cartoon, you can get away with it. But I mean, there's a real weight to reality, even in art, that I think people are receptive to. Yeah. And I think stuff that doesn't do very well, probably not the reason, but one of the reasons they don't do well is that people are intuitively understanding that things are just a little off. It's not quite what they're used to. Exactly. In their reality. Even though it's a cartoon.
Well, people, to the untrained eye, cartoons seem very like, oh, it's a cartoon, you know? Mm-hmm. But as we're discussing, and as people like you and I who are avid consumers of that kind of content, just a lot of thought goes into it. And if it's not accurate, if it's not right, you're 100% right. It's not as compelling. It doesn't become popular. People don't really like it as much. And you can write it off to a stylistic thing. Well, that's just how he draws. But at the end of the day, you know, even if you're not an artist, what looks good and what doesn't look good, you know? Mm-hmm.
Like going back to Dragon Ball, like, because in Meir Katz, big thing I have a problem with is guns, which, great thing it's a Western, and I have a problem with drawing guns.
No, dude, guns are difficult. But, before you go in, like, what I always struggled with, hold that thought, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but what I always struggled with is just holding a gun. It looks like, especially holding and pointing a gun, it looks easy to draw, but it's not, you know?
There's little things. Plus the guns themselves, like the mechanics of a gun, like the pieces that go into like how it looks. Like,
especially because yours is period, you know? Yeah. There's like a lot of...
There was, like, I think it's like the second volume of Dragon Ball, Bulma's got to go like this.
Isn't she's on like an ostrich or something? Yeah, that's I think that was Oda's like favorite color spread that Toriyama ever did. It's a good one. Awesome. Yeah.
And like the thing that makes it awesome is the gun itself and how detailed it is. Because And that's one of those things where, like, I think when there are details that you don't think of, like, you sense, like, the artist or illustrator cares about what they're drawing. They're focused on what they're drawing. So, in particular, that's something I like to focus on with guns. I'm not there yet. I draw terrible guns.
Well, I mean, you do good for, like, what the series calls for now. I mean, there's a lot of guns, but later on, I'm sure there's going to be even more. You know what I'm saying? But, like, right now, the scene in Meir is kind of casual. Like, we haven't really dipped into anything too crazy yet. Although, it's starting to get there. The chapters are building up. It's good. But I don't know who was the artist behind Shaman King. You know what I'm saying? But I like... Yeah. I have an appreciation for those kind of artists, like the Jonan Vasquez, the guy who did Invader Zim, or like, I mean, it's the same vein as Tim Burton or Soul Eater. They're very exaggerated, kind of almost Disney dreamlike characters, but you like that style as well because it's very consistent. Everything is drawn that way. It is called Soul Eater. I'm thinking about the right one. I'm not like really into it.
It's the one where there's the kid with the black hair. He's got white stripes.
Yeah, that one. That one's like very like everything's kind of
it is Tim Burton,
stretched out.
Yeah. I mean,
I have an appreciation for those kind of artists if they can do everything consistently. Like I was talking the other day. I watched Invader Zim not for like the plot or anything like that, but just for the art style. I think like Jonan Vasquez, like the way that he draws like faces and like how he's so obsessed with what's grotesque, he's always like drawing like just like gross things, but it's done in a cartoony way. Those are cool too, man. I love like the super exaggeration, and Oda kind of does that. His style is more Disney. I feel like he looks at Disney and really draws from Disney.
Well, yeah, like there's a lot of stuff from Disney, like the eels from Little Mermaid. They're the Sea Kings and stuff.
Yeah.
Not to say he stole it, but I mean it's very similar.
Everyone was inspired. I mean, you were too. I was as well.
Yeah, huge into Disney.
Of course.
When I was in high school, that was the one thing that I tried to draw when I first got into illustration was drawing Disney. And I would get like screen caps of like Sword in the Stone. And I would sit there and I'd draw the owl, I'd draw Merlin, I'd draw the hands. Disney is great with hands. Going back to hands.
Yeah.
You can literally talk about hands forever. But like they do this great thing where like the hands are boxes, like they're little rectangles, and like the tips of the fingers are little squares. Like they're literally just prisms. And the way that they draw, like if they set them around a bottle, like this will be little squares on it. It's just so, and that's the thing where it's like a style.
It's like they start off with squares and they start like cutting it off little by little, circling it, kind of like putting the details in, and they erase all the way.
No, not even that. It's like the final image is like that of a square. Like in 101 Dalmatians, the two robbers. There's this great illustration. And it's a line art illustration from like a concept, I think. And they draw like the guy's drinking a bottle of wine. And his fingers, like you just see the tips because of the way it's holding, and they're just little boxes, little squares. Yeah. It's so simple. I just love it.
There's a lot of scenes in Sorcerer's Stone and 100 Dalmatians where like because the hand movements in Disney animation are always very intentional, so you'll see like a lot of this. You know what I'm saying? Like reaching out, like very exaggerated hand motions. And you're right, you'll see that. Like it's all boxed, and that is at the end of the day a trick for the animator to be able to draw them very quickly and very accurately, where it's like obviously in real life a hand does not look like a prism. It comes to a point when you bring it down to that level, though, it's so easy to replicate on a massive scale. And that's like the ingenious part about animating. You know what I'm saying? It's like you found a shortcut using symbolism to represent a hand accurately, but now you can draw that so many more times, because it's so easy to draw.
You ever see with Disney hands, they there's a thing where they do this, like it's a weird like the hands falling back from doing something.
Princesses usually more dainty characters.
And it's
Cinderella, it's a lot like
it's
that.
It's like the devil worship sign, and it's like people are like, oh, like there's Satanism and
I don't really see that. I just like some women just hold their hands out.
Well, I mean there is a realism to it, but it's funny because it's like it's one of those things where they made it a thing that every Disney animator would use. Yeah. But people are huge into saying it's like a sign that Disney's into the same. I just think it's hilarious.
I know. I think it's funny too. I think Disney has like the most conspiracy theories out of any media conglomerate, and I guess maybe because that's their category. I mean, their library of media is so vast, but people always are like, there's hidden messages, like there's all those subliminal messages and stuff like that.
There's a lot of owls, a lot of owl characters in Disney movies, and
is that Illuminati?
Moloch the owl. who people sacrifice children to. And,
what is that?
Topeth.
And under what?
Protestant faith, and not the Protestant, like not Protestant.
Is that a cult?
It's the ones where the pagans.
Oh, pagans. I was gonna say not Protestant.
Protestant has nothing to do with it.
That's pretty close to home.
Yeah, wait a minute. The pagans, I don't know, appease religion, and they would sacrifice their children to Moloch the owl, who was like a god or I guess a devil, and they would sacrifice their children so they would be immortal. And they that's a big thing. Like owls are a symbol of like devil worship, and there's all of these owls in Disney.
For some people, I mean, there are also people look at the owls like a wise, all-knowing character. Like
that's what I see it
like
as.
Winnie the Pooh. I feel like
hey, I'm not disagreeing.
No, it's not that.
I feel like what I'm trying to say is I feel like owls are more associated.
We all went to temple here.
Owls are more associated with knowledge. That's the reason why academia always picks owls. They're supposed to be. I don't know where that comes from.
Is that the reason?
What folklore? What folklore they come from? But yeah, man. People will always have a bone to pick with Disney. I mean, some of the claims. One of the claims is true. I think when the Rescuers, there was that. And that quick picture of like a pornographic scene.
Oh, there's like a naked woman in the back.
Yeah, something like that. And like that was real. Like somebody actually put that in there. But like all the other ones are bogus. Yeah, he got fired.
It's like one of those things, like, in like cartoons where it's like a quick in the background. Like they're falling and it's in the city. And in a window of a building, there's like a nude woman, like from a real photo of a nude woman. But it's like so quick.
It's super quick.
You can't even see it.
But
it's there.
It kind of reminds me. There was this like fake spoof that happened in one of the Monsters Inc. movie at the end when Sully comes back to see the girl, Boo, and in the corner of the room, right next to the door was a picture, like a picture that kid drew, like she drew, and it says it's just like her mom bent over the table and her uncle behind the girl.
Oh,
and so it's like mommy and uncle so and so.
Oh, and it's like the kid's interpretation of
what happened, but it actually was not that photo. It was just like a Photoshop photo. Somebody photoshopped and threw it on the internet.
I think I saw it, and I was like, wait a minute.
No, I was like, no. So I went back to actually see the movie.
It looked real.
It looked real. It looked like it was part of the movie, so I went back to see it was there.
Man. People always got a bone to pick with Disney.
Well, people think that's like because I watched a whole video about this like last year.
Of specifically Disney?
Of Disney and Satanism, and I just think I don't believe in it. But it's cool to see somebody.
There's always somebody
out of breath, like with anxiety, like
you see. Honestly, it is entertaining to watch those. You know what I'm saying? It's like watching a show or like a movie, but it's just like these people. Some of them really believe. Some of them just think it's funny to throw those kind of accusations at a company that's just like so child friendly.
Could you imagine working at Disney and you're like, no, like you're like a high up.
Imagine being part of that PR team. And they have to deal with all that crap?
Well, yeah, because there's definitely people who call in and are like, I can't believe you're enslaving children to this. And it's like, all right.
Yeah, man.
Come on, dude.
People read really deeply into things. But, bringing this conversation full circle, as far as technique goes, Disney is great to study. It's been proven time and time and again. There's just the way that they approach animation. It's fantastic, man. I mean, you got Miyazaki, which is like a whole nother level of stuff, that's like it's almost an unapproachable, that's animation that you look at and you're like, wow, so this is what it has the potential to be, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Disney's also very impressive, but it's more digestible. You can watch Disney and Pixar and really get the feel for like how you draw things and stuff like that,
Yeah, Disney, Miyazaki, you're right. That's one where I'm not a huge fan of his movies, but I like the style of them and I like watching them, but I don't plot-wise, I don't enjoy it. I think that's not something that people should be allowed to just say, oh, it's not about the plot. Like, well, what's the point? You make cartoons so people watch them. And, I'm sitting there watching,
Spirited Away?
I'm
trying to guess what you're watching.
Spirited Away.
Because that one's a little convoluted.
Where I'm just and people love that one. I think it's one of the best movies ever made.
I don't think it's one of the best movies ever made, but I love it a lot.
I don't mind people liking movies. I'm not going to tell you what to like. But, just the cult that surrounds him. And I think he gets a little full of himself, too. He's like, oh.
What did he say?
I'm Miyazaki. I do this.
He wasn't going to do any movies anymore, and then he just does.
Yeah, his stupid son, Goro, is doing them.
Oh, you're talking about
Goro Miyazaki.
Hey, man.
I hope he falls in an AIDS swamp.
Jeez, that's a little harsh.
Wow.
I don't really. It's just
But man,
You can taste bitterness.
I have a just appreciation for 2D animation and cell animation. That's something that I will always love, and I feel like you have like the same love for that, which is kind of like why you do what you do, man. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's what I'm talking about Miyazaki. It's not to like bag on him, but it's
No,
just
of course
like,
not.
I think the thing with Disney, which I like, is that it's a practical
Yes.
mastery of cartoons.
Exactly.
Whereas Miyazaki, it's like, well, it's great you did all this, but like, what was the point? But like you know,
Jeez.
like Disney, it's like you're engaged with the art
You
that's
are.
going on.
And part of that is because we're Westerners, and that's kind of content that would be more relatable to us. Whereas,
So in like the East, they're all just sitting around like, ooh.
that's not what I'm saying. But when you watch a Miyazaki movie, sometimes it's the same with all anime. When there's an exchange between characters, or there's like a cultural thing that is very predominant in Japan, you don't get it right away. Like you're like, wait, why is that dynamic like that? And you're like, oh, like that's a mannerism that's more popular in Japan that you just wouldn't get watching that right away. You know what I'm saying?
I don't buy it.
Okay, well, hey, I'm trying to make a good argument for it. I think I'm right, man.
I think that's a good
Like
point.
when you watch Cowboy Bebop, that's pretty straightforward. Like when you watch Cowboy Bebop, you're like, all right, like this is a series that a Westerner can enjoy. It's a gateway anime. You know what I'm saying? When you watch sometimes an episode of One Piece, you're like, wait, what? There's an island of cross-dressing people? Like, wait, what's going on here?
like there is, because that's a thing, especially in film, where it's called semiotics, where there's visuals are a language that people connect to, and obviously where your culture, where you're from, builds into that. It's like there's that whole thing, especially in anime, where they do that, kabuki theater, like clicking thing where it's like
like the guy in the old man going,
it's like in everything. I'm like, all right guys, let's relax. But it's like, obviously it's important though. But I mean, it's just like that's something that you wouldn't get if you knew what it was, I guess. And even then it's like,
did you
what were we gonna see, Jay?
You mentioned Cowboy Bebop, and I saw this thing.
Oh, I did see that.
You see that I don't know if you've seen it, Benedict Cumberbatch
dressed as Spike.
Dressed as Spike, yeah. So I remember that when you mentioned Cowboy Bebop, I was like, Benedict Cumberbatch.
I didn't know if that was real, but
no, it really is dressed something like
pretty
this.
Cool.
And I was like, I saw that, and I was like, they should definitely make a movie.
A live action? You say no?
No.
No?
Why would you make a? I mean, I guess
he looks just like Spike.
You could.
All right.
And he's a great actor too.
So would you pay like $15 to see them ruin Cowboy Bebop in live action? One argument I could see for it is that you could do a new story. It doesn't have to be stuff from the show. So it's not like Ghost in the Shell, where it's like, let's just make a great movie. Over.
Ghost in the Shell, I'm excited.
If they were going to do a Bebop movie, you're right though, because they would try and condense all the crew being joined onto the ship in 2 hours.
If they could just set it out, where like they're already
established,
they do with they did that.
Like they did in the actual movie they made for Cowboy. Just do something like that.
It's just like
because people are gonna know, and then if you don't know, you can go watch the show.
But nobody wants to do that. That's the problem with like these movies nowadays.
You're not excited for Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett?
No. Because the original movie was.
I'm really excited because like I've always been a fan of Ghost in the Shell.
So watch it. It's already out.
Oh, dude, we have two.
It's been out for like 25 years.
I love this.
I love the one with Scarlett Johansson, that live action.
I'm so happy that you guys are both sitting here because we have examples of like the two types of consumers of this. We have the purist, which is you, man. Like you are very, very into the content, man, and we have somebody who is the casualist. You know what I'm saying? Like that is like, why not? You know,
I mean, there are times.
No, seriously, that's how it is.
Like, I don't mind being the casualist, where I
like he wants a Gundam live action movie.
I don't know. I mean,
see what I'm saying?
It depends. Like Gundam, I think could work because it's like
we've seen
Gundam. Who cares?
I know it's Gundam.
It's a cool show, but it's like meant to be a popular
type of show. But like the closest thing we've had to that is either Transformers or Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim is awful. When I saw the trailer, I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be Neon Genesis.
Okay.
Which
you probably were so excited.
My favorite. No, I wasn't. I was.
You weren't?
Oh my god! Are you telling me they made this in a movie? Because it looked terrible to me. And I was like, the worst part even was that it wasn't Neon Genesis, but it was so much like it. And I was like, they're just stealing it, and they're making like.
The filmmaker inside of you is just like,
Not even that. Like that series means a lot to me, and the fact that people like are making money off.
He loves Neon Genesis more than anyone I know, dude.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
He loves it.
It means a lot. It means a lot.
But no, like I really want like somebody out there to make a Gundam film, like a good, legitimate.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing.
Or a set of films for Gundam.
Like, because that'd be cool.
On a
because it's
specific-
like giant robots.
Yeah, it is, and it doesn't even have to be like the same plot line from a specific series. They can even create a new plot line, but at least keep the concept of Gundam the same.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm okay with that, like, because they're making something new with it. The thing that I really don't like is the Ghost in the Shell, just because it's ostensibly it's the same movie, just in live
Well, yeah,
action.
because I think they're basing it on the Arise series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the thing is, if you look at Scarlett Johansson, and
I'll look at her.
Anyways.
Let's not get
Anyways.
she looks like it's pretty much the same exact as the cop.
She's got like a David Bowie haircut.
In the Arise series.
She's a real creep.
Bro, what's crazy is what threw me off when I saw that trailer. It looked like
It
looked like she was fully nude, but like it was just a skin tight suit that she's in.
because it's like in the movie.
Right? Yeah, but in that like. I know a lot of guys will go and see Ghost in the Shell, not because they're a fan of Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Scarlet, because of Scarlet.
And you're making the argument that they should keep making movies for this crowd.
I mean, it's the American people. I mean, there's not a lot of people that know about Ghost in the Shell, like us, like who actually take time to appreciate Japanese cinematography and animation.
I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, right. the comic book movie. I feel like we also get back to this a lot on the podcast. The comic book movie is hard to master. The foreign comic book movie is really hard to master. Did you ever read 2020 AD comics like Judge Dredd?
No.
Okay, well, the original Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone is just ridiculously funny. It's not supposed to be. It's just so goofy.
Oh, so it's like a campy movie?
Yeah, like Sylvester Stallone, the whole quote is, "I am the law." Like, people think that's hilarious, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You've seen it made fun of, you know? But then Dredd came out years later, probably like 2015, 14, which is just a Judge Dredd movie. It was like another attempt to make this British comic book series into a movie. And it was amazing. It was awesome. Like, as somebody who read the comic and had a true appreciation for it, I was like, this movie is great. Why was it great? Because like it just focused on keeping what made the comic so cool on screen. It didn't try and change it at all. So when you can do that, then you make a good comic book movie. But otherwise, man, it's super hard to do. So I see what you're saying with Ghost in the Shell, man. If it's just going to be the same thing, then like, all right, I get it. But like, you have to capture like what was so great about it before. And if you could do that, then that'd be great.
And that was something with Watchmen, like where they basically just did shot by shot as much as they could.
Especially the director's cut. If you watch that, it's almost exactly the same, except the ending. But yeah,
because it couldn't have the squid thing or whatever. But it's like, what's the point? Because I mean, it's just like at a certain point, you're making it more accessible because more people are going to be willing to watch it.
Well, that's what it is, and it's a money thing too, Dave. Why not? People will pay for it. People who want the comic will pay for it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not jumping on you.
Well, no, because especially like if you love it, like you're super into it, and it's like a
that's
decent,
my favorite comic ever.
and it's like a decent movie.
Yeah,
you'll watch it. Yeah, like I remember when it came out, I was huge into it. But like my thing is like just speaking from a creative side, like it doesn't make sense to me to do something that's like unless you did it, like with Akira, like the Otomo, he did the manga and then he directed and animated the movie. That's his thing, so he can do it shot by shot because that's his vision. But when you're just taking somebody else's work and you're just making it shot by shot for what they wanted, I don't know. It depends because like the Coen brothers with No Country for Old Men, they just said they would take pages out of it and they would shoot based on the book because it was that cinematic.
Yeah,
but I don't know. They're still the Coen brothers. I'm sure they did something else.
No, it's a good point, and now I'm actually starting to see things from your perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have something that's already so established and so great, and people who weren't involved with it try and recreate it in a different medium, it does feel distant sometimes, you know? But Akira is a great example. Like, first off, that comic was super influential to you and a lot of people.
Yeah.
But that anime is even more influential. That movie is huge, and even today. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much to learn from it. And it was done, of course, by the same creative, the same creative that was responsible for the comic, and that's why it was so successful. You know, and
it's that through line of, it's consistency. I mean, it's like he had a vision and he was able to put it together.
Yeah,
that's what makes it so great. Is because it's such a sweeping vision of what he wants in the series and in the movie.
It's a lot more control. It's the same thing with Godzilla. You know, Godzilla is a classic. People love it. I mean, it's supposed to be corny. It's supposed to be campy. that's the reason why it's been around. Like if you watch the Japanese ones, they're just ridiculous. They're silly. And then you have the new US rendition, and people get so excited for it. And it disappoints a lot of people because it's not the same. It's not the same. Even though it tries to be like on the big screen. Just because something goes to big screen doesn't make it better. And that's a lesson that I think producers are very happy that people haven't learned, because it's the successful way to make money, man. Like Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles is a prime example.
Yeah.
The prime example.
Like, and that's the thing, like, my argument, I don't want it to get confused with, I think no one should attempt to make money using the audience of something else to bridge over. Because that's the whole thing with, like, art in general, is audience, like, liking one thing, and then they see something else they might like, and they swing over. So if you're, as a producer, saying, well, if you like this, you'll like this, because this is the same as this. That's like whenever they say, from the director of The Departed, bring you whatever. Like, that's the whole point, is interconnectivity in terms of titles and styles. So, I mean, I get it. Like, there's legions of, I mean, it sounds like lesions, but there's legions of Ninja Turtle fans who are going to go watch the movies. And it's like a ready-made audience. So I'm okay with, like, Ghost in the Shell. There's a lot of people who will see it. There's a lot of people who never heard of it, but might have heard the name. Never saw it. They'll watch it because Scarlett Johansson's in it. I can't blame them, but it's like, I watch them like,
guys, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
No,
that's just me.
No, I understand, man. And, people are always going to have their opinion at the end of the day. At the end of the day, man, just, it's a movie. Let's not take it too seriously, right? Nothing down on you.
ISIS still exists,
Right, there's more stuff going on.
Getting their heads cut off, yeah. I mean, let's put our perspectives in place.
Oh, man. Well, this has been fun, man. We're almost out of time. I just want to say thank you for coming on, dude. And
no problem.
If you want to plug, I'm not sure if you want to plug the Gin now because it's kind of early, but if you want to plug like where people could read Meir Katz or just anything you have online that you want to plug. If you don't want to, that's fine. But
well, you can definitely go on Tapastic.
Yeah, you don't even know, but yeah.
Well, because I say Taptastic like a retard. No. But yeah, like Tapastic.com. You can look up James Greene. I do Meir Katz, and I do Asylum, 2 series up there, and I'm working on a 3rd series, which might be put up in the near future.
Why didn't we talk about that on the podcast?
It's called Kindergarten Terrorist.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Kindergarten Terrorist.
Is it a one-shot?
Yeah, it'll be like Jocko, or it's like
nice.
1 volume. That's what I want to do.
I feel like it's making fun of Kindergarten Cop.
No.
This is the prequel. This is the prequel to Meir Katz.
No, it's like set today. It's about a kid who like he sees on the news like terrorism and stuff. So the first page is like, oh, like they're in class, and the teacher's like, all right, today's career day. We're going to talk about what we want to be when we grow up. So he's like, all right, Becky, what do you want to be? And she's like, I want to be a doctor. It's like, oh, cool. And then one kid's like, I want to be a firefighter. Oh, very nice. And then one kid's like, oh, I want to be like, the regional director of merchandising. She's like, all right, well, interesting.
Yeah.
And she's like, Zach, what do you want to be? She's like, Zach, for the last time, take off sunglasses in class. And it's like this kid in the back, like sitting like this, with sunglasses on. She's like, now what do you want to be when you grow up? And he's like, I want to be, and he takes off the sunglasses, a terrorist. It's like in the background, these explosions and stacks of plutonium and like gold bars and money, and rockets and shit. And it's like he wants to be a terrorist when he grows up. So it's him in kindergarten, trying to become a terrorist in kindergarten.
I feel like it reminds me of Despicable Me with Gru.
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, we'll see where it goes, but
that's cool.
It's an edgy show.
That's cool.
Edgy.
But it sounds pretty funny to watch. It seems like a little bit of comedy in there.
Oh, it's funny, and that's the thing. It's
it's funny.
It's like silly things. Like the first thing is like the kid steals the markers in the classroom and he takes them all for hostage. And there's all these kids they take it seriously. What's going on? It's silly on the outside, but they're treating it like life and death situations.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And he does this negotiation with
for it
a CIA kid, and he's like, for every 5 minutes that you don't give in to my demands, I take a cap off of one of the markers. And they're like, no, they're gonna try it out.
It's this is actually amazing. Don't give too much away because already I'm liking it a lot.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of great stuff.
This
is going to be fun.
Check out Dave's Tapastic account. Look up his full name, and you'll find all the masterpieces that are the product of the great minds behind Litmus Comics. Thank you for being on, man. We out.
All right.